يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. إن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. قال عليه الصلاة والسلام عن حديث أنس بن مالك رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: ثلاث من كن فيه وجد حلاوة الإيمان أن يكون الله ورسوله أحب إليه مما سواهما. The Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith reported by Anas that the Prophet ﷺ said three categories are the description of the sweetness of Iman in the heart of the believer. ثلاثة من كن فيه وجد حلاوة الإيمان. If you want to know the sweetness of Iman, you have to exercise those three or some of those three. First of all, أن يكون الله ورسوله أحب إليه مما سواهما. The love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the love of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is more than any love you practice in your life. And this is condition number one. In this condition, the Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith also reported by a Muslim, you're not going to be a believer unless I am, the Prophet ﷺ said, unless I am more lovable to you than your father and your son. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, when he heard that from the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Ya Rasulullah, you are more lovable to me than my wealth, than my children. But you're not more lovable to me than my soul or myself. And the Prophet ﷺ said, you have not had it, Ya Umar. Then Umar radiallahu anhu went outside and then he came back. When he came back, he said, Ya Rasulullah, you are more lovable to me than anything else, even my soul and myself, which is between me, which is in me. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-ana ya Umar, now. Now, what does it mean? It means now that you have got or gained the proper Iman. Because the Prophet ﷺ said in this hadith here that you must have the love of Allah and the love of the Prophet more than anything else. It is interesting that Abdullah, the son of Sayyidina Umar, wanted to know what went inside the brain or the heart of Sayyidina Umar when he went outside and he came back. So he told his father later, he said, Jazakallah khair wa barakallah. So he told his father, he said, Father, what did you think? What happened to you when you went outside for a minute and then you changed your mind and you came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, you are more lovable to me than my own soul? So Sayyidina Umar, he said to Abdullah radiallahu anhuma, he said, I went to think, which one is better for me? Anything is better for me than the Prophet. The Prophet is the one who guided me to Islam. The Prophet is who showed me the truth. The Prophet is going to be my intercessor for me on the judgment day. The Prophet is for me is everything. I am with the Prophet. He make dua for me. Allah will forgive me. I follow him. Without the Prophet, I am nothing. Nothing will do me any help. No father, no mother, no wealth, not even myself. I could not be good to myself. So I came back and I told the Prophet and I changed my mind because my thinking led me to believe that he is the most important thing to me and he is the most beneficial thing to me. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And the second thing is, وَأَنْ يُحِبَّ الْمَرْءَ لَا يُحِبُّهُ إِلَّا لِلَّهِ. When you love somebody, you love him for the sake of Allah. Most of us, or a lot of us nowadays, is we trying to trade benefits. I do you good, you do me good. You know, and in Arabic we say حكلي لحكلك. You know, do me a profit, do me a benefit, I do you a benefit. The Muslim, it is not, this is the way he's supposed to be. The Muslim is supposed to do for the sake of Allah. You're not doing good or making favors for others to do you favors. You're doing favors for others because you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do the ultimate favor for you in the judgment day by accepting what you had done and forgive you and apply His mercy on you and make you enter His Jannah. So you're doing it for the sake of Allah. You're not doing it for His sake or for His satisfaction or for Him to do you some benefit later on. So here, this hadith is one of the most essential hadith. Maybe you've heard it before, but we need to say it again and again, because the first part of it, when you love Allah and the Prophet, you're purifying yourself, you're purifying your soul, you're purifying your aqidah, you're putting your ultimate goal, you're putting your ultimate hope with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the second one is what they call the sincerity. It's teaching you how to be sincere. Without the proper aqidah, you're nothing. Without the proper sincerity, you have no good deed. إن الله لا يقبل من الأعمال إلا ما خلص له. Hadith في Sahih Muslim. Allah will not accept any deed unless it's totally 100% sincere for Him. أنا أغنى الأغنياء عن الشريك من عمل عملا أشرك فيه غيري تركته وشركه. You know, I do not accept any partners. If you do any deed that you incorporate partner with that deed, I'm going to leave you with that work, with that deed, because I'm not going to accept it. If you have partner with me, I'm going to ask you to go and seek your benefit from that person that you made him a partner to me. So this is the second part of it. And the third part, وأن يكره أن يعود في الكفر كما يكره أن يقذف في النار. That it is not only that I became a Muslim and I love Islam. So look at the first part of the hadith. You love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you love the Prophet. What does it mean? Do I love the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam personally, or I don't know the Prophet. I haven't seen the Prophet. I cannot love him personally. And this hadith definitely is not only for the Sahaba. This hadith is till the judgment day. This hadith is valid for all the Muslims. So I need to love Allah and to love the Prophet. How is my love is going to be? My love is for His Sharia, for His rules and regulation, for the love for this deen, the love for the rules that the Prophet ﷺ taught me. I love this deen because it's a great deen. I love this deen because it has everything good Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered. Because I love the good, I love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and I love the goodness. I don't love evil things. I don't love bad things, you know. So when you said I love Allah and the Prophet, that means I have to love the deen of Allah, the rules of Allah, the system of Allah, what the Prophet ﷺ have done to us, what he taught us, and what he taught us is the best thing. This is what they call the legislation to live by. That's what I love. Now, in the third part, because you love this, that means you must hate the opposite of that. When you love goodness, you must hate evil. And that's the third part is وأن يكره أن يعود في الكفر كما يكره أن يقذف في النار. You hate evil. You hate bad things. You hate immoral things. You know, it has to be the opposite with the first one, because you cannot have two contradicting things in your heart. You cannot love Allah and the devil. You cannot love the goodness and the evilness. You cannot. In your heart you cannot. You have to love one. So if you gave your heart to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the love and the fellowship, then you must hate. The third one has to be a consequence. This hadith is reported by Bukhari, one Imam Nasa'i, rahimahullah. What do I need out of this hadith? I need from this hadith is the first part, when I love Allah and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the first condition. Agreed? That's according to the hadith. Then, wouldn't it be logical that in order for me to love Allah, to obey Allah, to do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants me to do, I have to look, I have to search and find what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like? Right? I need to find out what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like. Then I will do that, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will love me back. So from this, this is what we call it, the title today. What are the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala love? In order for me to do them, to gain the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to gain, inshallah, with all of you, the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to put us in Jannah, inshallah. So, عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما, that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, أحب الأديان إلى الله تعالى الحنيفية السمحة. الإمام أحمد ومسند الطبراني والطبراني والسلسلة الصحيحة للشيخ الألباني under the number 881. Now, when Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu is telling us that the Prophet ﷺ said that the most lovable deen, the deen in this hadith, it doesn't mean the deen that what you all know. It means in this hadith a deen, it means the system or the al-millah or the method or the way you live or the way you act. أحب الأديان إلى الله تعالى, the most lovable system to Allah, the most lovable way of life is al-Hanifiyya as-Samha. Why would we have to say this in this particular moment? Al-Hanifiyya, Al-Hanif, is the one who is tilted toward the goodness. Al-Hanif in Arabic, Al-Ma'ilu ila Sawab. Okay? Al-Ma'il. If you see somebody who's having a limp and he's walking funny, you said his name is Al-Ahnaf. You see? Because he doesn't walk straight. He tilts to the side. So here it means Al-Hanifiyya, that means the way of kufr, you move away from it toward the way of Allah. And Al-Hanifiyya Samha, Samha means the nice one, the lovable one, the one that goes along with the human nature. Our nature is like things the easy way, like the nice way. This is our nature. I like to sleep more than I can walk. I like to do this, samh. I don't like to fight. I like to buy and sell an easy way. I like the person who is smiling all the time and nice and easy to talk to and easy to deal with. Samh. This one in Arabic, samh. It's not difficult. It's not hardship. So what do we mean by this? أحب الأديان إلى الله الحنيفية السمحة. What do I need to understand from this? What I need to understand from this, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in Surah Al-Hajj, ما جعل عليكم في الدين من حرج ملة أبيكم إبراهيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إن هذا الدين يسر ولن يشاد الدين أحد ولن يشاد الدين أحد إلا غلبه. Hadith reported by Muslim. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this religion easy. Does not make it difficult. Some of the scholars, when they came to the ayah of Surah Al-Hajj, ما جعل الله عليكم في الدين من حرج ملة أبيكم إبراهيم هو سماكم المسلمين, and so on. One of those scholars said, if you see some difficulties in the deen, that means you have misunderstood the problem. That means whatever you're reading, whatever you're researching, there's something wrong. You either don't understand it, or you're reading it wrong, or something is wrong. Because you are violating the system of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants this deen to be easy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرِ وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرِ. This is the way of Allah. And the Prophet ﷺ, when he told us in the hadith that this deen is easy. And if somebody is trying to make it difficult, the deen will be victorious. He's not going to be victorious. From this, a lot of the scholar, believe it or not, the scholar of ilm al-usul, the fundamental rules that we have in Islam, we have those scholars, they call them ulama al-usul. They took those ayat and they derived to some rules. We have qawaid fi ilm al-usul, rules in the science of al-usul, because of those ayat. So, somebody is trying to make it difficult, it's not right. Somebody is trying to put in Islam more than what he can put, it is not right. Some of the khutbah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive all of us and them, they try to make this deen unpractical. They said Sayyidina Uthman used to recite the Quran in one rak'ah. It's a lie. It is not true. It is not practical. I cannot sit down, all night long and recite the Quran in a whole night. And even though they said that Sayyidina Uthman radiallahu anhu recited the Quran in one rak'ah. Ya akhi, this is not practical. I have to go to work next day. I have to sleep. I have to take care of my family. I have to take care of my business. I don't care whatever you do. Let's say that every juz in the Quran is going to take you 25 minutes. It is very difficult for me personally to recite one juz in the Quran in 25 minutes. Some people say it takes 20 minutes. God bless them. Okay? But let's say if even it takes you half an hour, 30 chapters of the Quran require 15 hours. You tell me you're going to stand up in one rak'ah and recite 15 hours the whole Quran. Okay? Where is that night? Where is it? In the middle of the winter maybe? 15 hours is difficult. So it's a lie. Another person, they come, our brothers, they love Imam Abu Hanifa. We love Imam Abu Hanifa. 40 years he prayed Fajr in the wudu of Al-Isha. طيب يا أخي, 40 years he does not have a stomachache. He didn't go to sleep. Is this what the Prophet ordered? That's not what the Prophet ordered. The Prophet in the hadith said, when those people, they came to the Prophet ﷺ and they asked the wife of the Prophet ﷺ about his salah and his ibadah. And those people, this is the Prophet of Allah. He eats, and goes to sleep and wakes up and break fast and have courtship with his wife and this and that. فَتَقَالُوهَا. They thought it is new. So one of them said, I can do better. I'm going to stay up all night praying. I'll never go to sleep. A second person said, I'm not going to have courtship with my wife, period. That's it. A third person said, I'm going to be fasting every day for the rest of my life. The fourth person said, and I'm not going to eat meat, period. I'm going to be vegetarian for the rest of my life. The Prophet ﷺ heard what they said. He took the podium and حمد الله وأثنى عليه, and he said, ما بال أقوام? What's wrong with some of those people that I have heard that they're going to do this, they're not going to do that, they're going to do this, they're going to do that? I am the most worshipper to Allah among you. I am the most pious person to Allah from you. إني أعبدكم لله وإني أخشاكم لله وإني أتقاكم لله. I fear Allah the most of any of you. And I أنام وأقوم وأصوم وأفطر وآتي النساء وآكل اللحم. I do all those things. I break fast and I fast and I have courtship and I sleep at night and I wake up, and I eat meat. I do all of this. And here's the important part. هذه سنتي فمن رغب عن سنتي فليس مني. We need to stop here for a minute, even though I'm taking a little detour, forgive me. But the sunnah in this hadith, a lot of people, they misunderstand it. This is not sunnah ta'abudiyya. The definition of a sunnah ta'abudiyya, the worship sunnah, يثاب فاعلها ولا يأثم تاركها. يثاب فاعلها, the person who does that sunnah ta'abudiyya, he will be rewarded. But if he does not do it, he's not going to be a sinful person. An example of that, I walk into the masjid, the Prophet ﷺ said I should do 2 rak'at tahiyyat al-masjid. I met Brother Abu Hamza and I sat down and I talked to him, and then the time passed by, the iqamah took over and we prayed. I did not make tahiyyat al-masjid. I am not sinful, okay? So this is the sunnah. This is sunnah ta'abudiyya. Sunnah ta'abudiyya, the Prophet ﷺ said you fast Mondays and Thursdays. Okay, I am busy, I am weak, I cannot fast. You're not going to be sinful. The sunnah tashri'iyya, the legislative sunnah is different. So we have a difference between sunnah ta'abudiyya, worshipping sunnah, and legislative sunnah. Legislative sunnah, it is tashri'. You cannot violate that. You cannot. The scholar said, Al-Imam al-Maqdisi rahimahullah said, if you violate sunnah tashri'iyya, and you know it is sunnah tashri'iyya, and you know it is legislative sunnah, and you know it's an order of the Prophet ﷺ, you violate that purposely, knowing it, you committed kufr. And then to make it easier, and some people say, well, sunnah tashri'iyya kufr, he may be a little bit offensive. No. Al-kufr comes, we have too many points that a person, wal-iyadu billah, can commit kufr if he doesn't. Some of the scholars, they compose that into 10 articles. They said, الصفات العشرة المخرجة من الملة. There are other scholars who they explain those, like the book Ma'arij al-Qubul. He put 25 points. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just going to give you one of them to illustrate what we're talking about. Part of this, if a person made the halal haram, have committed kufr. If a person made haram halal, he have committed kufr. You see? تغيير شرع الله. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated for us in Surah Shura, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَمْ لَهُمْ شُرَكَاء شَرَعُوا لَهُم مِّنَ الدِّينِ مَا لَمْ يَأْذَنْ بِهِ اللَّهِ. Legislation is the role of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When somebody rejects the legislation of Allah, that's kufr. If somebody legislates by the legislation of Allah, he add a legislation, he made something halal, or he made something haram, that's statement of kufr. Because he's taking the role of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he giving it to himself. No one has the right to legislate except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam does not legislate except by the order of Allah. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Surah Al-Najm, إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَى. He does not speak of himself. إِنْ أَتَّبِعُ إِلَّا مَا يُوحَى إِلَيْهِ. I only follow what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had inspired me with, or he had sent Jibreel, alayhi salam, for that order. إِنْ أَتَّبِعُ إِلَّا مَا يُوحَى إِلَيْهِ. It has to be the oracle in order for him to follow. So anyway, back to the subject. We cannot legislate, we cannot make things halal and haram. So as sunnah tashri'iyya, it is legislation. So when you're rejecting that legislation, that means you're appointing yourself as a legislator beside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's kufr. Okay? So, فَمَنْ رَغِبَ عَنْ سُنَّتِي فَلَيْسَ مِنِّي, and that part is legislative sunnah. And some of people who they do not have the proper knowledge, they mix up between sunnah ta'abudiyya and sunnah tashri'iyya, and they are two different things. The scholar have pointed this. So we go back to the hadith of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, that the Prophet ﷺ said, أحب الأديان إلى الله الحنيفية السمحة. So that means we must follow the rules and regulation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet ﷺ. We cannot innovate ibadah. Even though we say this, but we find a lot of people, they're doing innovation, they're doing bid'ah and dalalat wal iyadu billah. Their intention is good, but intention by itself is not enough. You have to follow. So that's why we learn, when we're learning, we have learned from our teacher, Jazahullah Khair, that you do not do anything unless you understand that where the Prophet ﷺ have ordered this, or where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have ordered this. So we have to follow. We cannot do. So many people you see that they have a big or a long worry piece. They sit down at night and say, Allah, 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 Allah. Now, is this what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered? No. Is this what the Prophet ordered? No. You see? Who told you to make it 1,000 times or make it 100,000 times? Who is legislating for you? If it is Allah and the Prophet, show us. Where did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say that? As a matter of fact, the opposite, you cannot worship Allah by mufrad. You cannot take one name of Allah, like my grandmother and your grandmother and those older people in your village, or in my village, they used to sit down and say, Ya Latif, Ya Latif, Ya Latif, Ya Latif, Ya Latif, Ya Latif. You remember? This is not right. We will never find the speech of the Prophet ﷺ made this kind of dhikr. This is innovation. This is not Hanifiyya Samha. This is not the right religion. The right religion is to follow the Prophet ﷺ. Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, and so on and so forth. You see? So people, they said, a lot of people, they said, well, we have to do like Imam Ahmad. A guy came to me the other day in the Islamic Center and he said, Ya Akhi, we're not doing enough. I said, what is enough? Trying to understand. He said that Imam Ahmad, his homework used to be 1,000 rak'ah a day. I said, Ya Akhi, subhanallah. Ya Akhi, please, use your mind. 1,000 rak'ah, if every rak'ah is going to take me 1 minute, 1,000 rak'ah, those are 1,000 minutes. Divide those by 60, how many hours? I mean, don't make the deen impractical. Don't make the deen difficult to do. The deen is easy. That's why this hadith is important. You want Allah to love you? Follow the order of Allah. Follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Don't make it difficult. His deen is not difficult. Wallahi, I hear a lot of tape every day. I don't do nothing. I'm retired. I sit down and read tapes and listen to tape. And wallahi, sometimes it hurts me so much that those people, they're calling people to deen, they are making people run away from deen. They're making people run away from deen. Sit down, listen. How am I going to make 1,000 rak'ah or 100 rak'ah or 500? How can I do it? I have work to do. People have profession. They need to take care of their life. Or somebody said that you must recite 10 juz of the Quran a night. Ya akhi, if you're retired, if you have nothing to do, if you can do it, God bless you, do it. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is for you to translate this deen to others and show them that this is the deen. That's not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. And that's why I want to put this hadith right here. أحب الأديان إلى الله. The most practical things you can do, the most lovable things you can do is for you to follow the order of Allah and to do the right thing, to do the easy thing. Why the Prophet ﷺ taught us to sit down and say, Subhanallah wa hamdulillah, Subhanallah al-Azim? Why? If you listen to Islam, if you look at it, you will find that Islam will take care of all type of life you have. If you're busy, make your intention for the sake of Allah. That's the most that is required of you. Go to work, make money to support yourself, to support your family, to raise a Muslim family, to give the poor, to give the needy. Okay? Make your niyyah purified to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you can only drive cars, as you're driving your car, say Subhanallah bihamdi Subhanallah al-Azim. Say Qul huwa Allahu ahad and repeat it. Say Al-Fatiha and repeat it. You see? There's nothing you can do. Think of being good to the others. I need to help brother so-and-so. Brother so-and-so is in need. That, you know, even if you can pray to Allah to make you rich to help the others, that will be granted in your sahifa, in your sheet of deed. It will be granted, inshallah. You see? So, but do not make the deen difficult. Do not make people who they listen to you or they can see you, that don't let them say, I cannot do that. I will never be that person. You see? Don't make the deen that way. Make the deen easy, lovable. And there are many ahadith. Many ahadith. Some of them are not authentic. Some of them are authentic. You know? Where, you know, in one of the ahadith that it's one of the most or the best thing that you can do is to make people love the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يحبب الناس يحبب الخلق بالله سبحانه وتعالى. من حبب خلقي إلي. You know, and so on. So make it easy, don't make it difficult. Okay? So this is the first hadith. If you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to love you, do that and practice that. And the other one is أحب الأعمال إلى الله. The Prophet ﷺ said, الصلاة لوقتها. Do you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be happy with you? Make salah on time. الصلاة لوقتها. This hadith needs to be explained. So many people, or all of us, believe that the time of al-dhuhr, from the time of the adhan, a little bit before Asr. It's true. This is the time of al-dhuhr. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with the salah, Jibreel alayhi salam came down and he prayed with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam the first day in the beginning of the time. And next day, he came, Jibreel alayhi salam, and he prayed with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam at the end of the time. And he said, Ya Muhammad, al-dhuhru min hada ila hada. And al-asr, and al-maghrib, and al-isha, and al-fajr, and so on. So this is the time. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, in Surah Al-Nisa, إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ كَانَتْ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ كِتَابًا مَوْقُوتًا. You know, there's a specified time. But in this time, there's a lovable, more lovable time to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the hadith in Sahih al-Jami' al-Imam al-Suyuti. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, أَحَبُّ الْأَعْمَالِ إِلَى اللَّهِ الصَّلَاةُ عَلَى أَوَّلِ وَقْتِهَا. The most lovable deed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is salah on the beginning of the time. So, what is the beginning of the time? They went Sayyidina Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu and they asked him. They said, what does it mean? How long it is the beginning of the time? We need to know the explanation of this. So Sayyidina Ibn Umar said, like in the hadith in the Bukhari, he said, أول وقتها, he said 2 hadith. Because he was asked twice. The first time he answered by saying, كَانْ يَذْهَبَ أَحَدُكُمْ إِلَى الْغَائِطِ وَيَرْجِعْ. You know, like you want to go to the bathroom, do the proper things, make your wudu and come back. How long this takes? 10-15 minutes. And then after the adhan, you have those 10-15 minutes. If you made the prayer, then you have made the salah on the waqt. And the other hadith also is in the Bukhari. Sayyidina Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu said, كَأَنْ يَقْرَأَ أَحَدُكُمْ مِقْدَارَ 50 آيَةً. As if you open the Mus'haf, you know, and you recite 50 ayah. How long 50 ayah will take you? 10 minutes? 15 minutes? That's our waqt. You see? So, And this is what the explanation of this hadith here. أحب الأعمال إلى الله الصلاة لوقتها. That's one. The second one, ثم بر الوالدين. Take care of your parents. Trying to be nice to them. Trying to serve them. Trying to make them happy. بر الوالدين is one of the most things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves. And all of you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us in the Quran, and many ayat in Surah Al-Isra, and so on. And many ayat, Surah Al-Isra, Surah Luqman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to take care of your, Surah Al-Ahqaf, take care of your parents. Birrul walidayn. And the third one, ثُمَّ الْجِهَادُ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. So give us three categories that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the most. The salah on time, to take care of your parents, and al-jihad fi sabilillah. This hadith reported by al-Bukhari wa Muslim, it's one of the highest authenticized hadith we have. Al-jihad fi sabilillah, a lot of people right now, they have pressed the word jihad, the struggle in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the fighting in the battlefield. No, al-jihad fi sabilillah, part of it is fighting in the battlefield. But if you go to the Quran, what do we say? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا بِأَمْوَالِهِمْ وَأَنفُسِهِمْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ وَأَنفُسِهِمْ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put أَمْوَالِهِمْ in so many ayat before أنفسهم. Put your wealth ahead of your soul. As if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking you for your money, He's not asking you for your soul. Okay? So you can make jihad in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by your wealth, by your soul, definitely, fighting. But also, He is a teacher. He can teach you Tawheed. He can teach you Islam. You are a person, no matter what you do, whatever your field, you could do the work. The doctor, the engineer, the teacher, anybody. You can spread the word of good. Doing the right thing is jihad. If you're being honest, decent, faithful, you're making jihad. You see, you're making a struggle. Your niyyah has to be set right. You have to be doing what you're doing for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So do not put jihad, that means I have to have a rifle and go fighting and a bullet or a sword and fight. No. You can see something wrong and correct it. That's jihad fi sabilillah. And the Prophet ﷺ in the hadith said, Sayyidu Shuhada, Hamza. And then, وَرَجُلٌ قَامَ إِلَى إِمَامٍ جَائِرٍ فَأَمَرَهُ وَنَهَاهُ فَقَتَلَهُ. He said something, he only said it, he didn't fight him. The Prophet ﷺ said, the best, the master of all the martyrs are Hamza, radiallahu anhu wa arda. And then who? One equal to it, or close to it, a person stood up to somebody who is making something wrong, and he corrected him, and he ordered him to do right, and to prevent him from doing wrong. He gave him advice. Okay? And that person killed him. This person will be with the rank of Sayyidina Hamza radiallahu anhu, will be one of the masters of the martyrs, So al-jihad, it has that broader meaning. We do not want to make it, so narrow. Another hadith, قال عليه الصلاة والسلام أحب الأعمال إلى الله إيمان بالله ثم صلة الرحم ثم الأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر. هذا hadith reported by Imam Abu Ya'la, and Shaykh Al-Albani rahimahullah made it authentic in السلسلة الصحيحة. This hadith, I made it after that hadith, is because it will explain it a little bit, it will enhance it a little bit. Where the Prophet ﷺ said, Imanun billah. Many of the scholars, when they said Imanun billah, believe it or not, it might be kind of weird, but Imanun billah, some of the scholars said in this hadith here, meaning the proper intention. Think about it for a minute. Imanun billah is to set your proper intention to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Arabic, they call it Tawheedul Qasd. You see? That means I am doing what I'm doing only for the sake of Allah, not for anything else. إيمان بالله يعني تعمل العمل هذا إيمانا بالله سبحانه وتعالى واحتسابا للأجر عند الله. Okay? So, believing in Allah, some other scholars said, إيمانا بالله, that means you're doing it because you believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had ordered it. You're doing it because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had ordered it. You're doing it because you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward you for it. You're doing it obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the other one they say, you're doing it making your niyyah sincere for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for any other reason. Imanan billah. And then the second part, silatul rahim, like what we said in the first part, birrul walidain. Okay? But here silatul rahim is broader. The first one is more narrowed down. You take care of your parents. Here it is broader term. And the parents definitely are included in silatul rahim because they are the highest of silatul rahim. To take care of them. And then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, ثم الأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر. And like what we said, this is part of the jihad. Not all of us can make ma'ruf, can order ma'ruf. And nowadays it is very difficult because people are sensitive. You know, you can get rejected a lot more. Okay? Now when we stand for the salah, the imam will say, سووا صفوفكم فإن تسوية الصفوف من تمام الصلاة. You look, you find somebody, even though the imam is saying it, he's still coming forward a little bit. Ya akhi, go back to the line and say, we've seen that. I've seen it every day. It's not easy. And if they do it in the first rak'ah, they mess up the line on the second rak'ah. You must make the line straight in every rak'ah. It has to be. The Prophet ﷺ ordered it many times. Even though the Prophet ﷺ used to step out and go with his hand like this. Make the shoulders stick to each other. Why is he doing all of that? Because it is important. And the Prophet ﷺ in the hadith said, "Istaffu kama tastaffi al-malaika." The angels, when they stand straight line. This is the order of Allah. This is the order of the Prophet ﷺ. But you find somebody sometimes rebellious a little bit, you know, does not want to give. Even though the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith, there's a beautiful hadith of the Prophet ﷺ said, "Leenu, leenu fi aydi ikhwanikum." Leenu. One of the scholars, when he mentioned this hadith, he mentioned another hadith with it, that there is a lady, handicapped a little bit. She used to come to the masjid and grab the Prophet ﷺ from his dress, and she used to drag him. And the Prophet ﷺ used to get up and walk with her. And she used to take him in the streets. You know, and then she comes back. Leenu fi aydi ikhwanikum. If somebody said, come forward. I came to the masjid the other day. You know, the line in the masjid, it has to start behind the imam. The second line must start from behind the imam. And the third line and so on. I came to the masjid and I found the third line, they started from the right because there was a brother put a chair there. They put chair to the right. And he was standing, you know, by the chair, sitting there. So when a person comes, he looked and he said, if I'm going to stand behind the imam, there's going to be a distance between me and that. So he went to that chair and he sat next to it. And another came, and so they became about three. When I came into the masjid, behind the imam is nobody there, and those people are there. So I went there, and I grabbed one from his hand, and I pulled him over to the middle.
He accepted.
The first one came. I went back to get the second one, and he was ready, to fight. I left him alone. I came back to that brother, and I sat next to him, and we prayed together. And I made khatira after the salah. I told them that the line must be starting from behind the imam. And the people who they are behind the imam, they have more responsibility. They have responsibility to make the line straight. So if somebody from the back gets crooked, he must align himself according to the people right in the middle. Not the people in the middle will align themselves in a crooked way according to the guy at the end. No. And then the other thing is, we have right now a lot of youngsters, they come and they stand behind the imam. They should not. I mean, it is okay for them to be in the first line, but behind the imam, those people who they are knowledgeable in the Quran, they have some memorization of the Quran, those people, they have to be behind the imam. And that's an order of the Prophet. It is not, some organizational rule. The Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith, لِيَلِيَنِي أُولِي النُّهَى. And another hadith, لِيَلِيَنِي أُولُو النُّهَى. Who's أُولُو النُّهَى? The people who they have knowledge. The people who they can. Let's say that the imam, for example, something had wrong, bleeded or wanted to go to the bathroom or something. He cut the salah. We're going to let this guy 10 years old behind him lead the salah, lead the prayer, take over the imam. So let's be somebody. And we have to teach brothers in the masjid, they don't have to be so sensitive. But anyway, back I'm saying is, al-amr al-ma'ruf, it is not an easy task anymore. You have to know how, and the scholars have written books. First of all, you have to have knowledge, you have to have a proof, you have to be patient, you have to, what they call it, طويل البال. What's طويل البال? يعني, you have to be relaxed and easy, and you have that patience to talk, because there are some people who they're going to be smart, they're going to try to argue with you, trying to show you something, or to give and take with you. So you have to be knowledgeable, and you have to be nice and easy, and you have to be smart and intelligent. And some of the scholars, they said, and I like to mention that for my brother Abu Hamza, he said, if you want to make أن تأمر بالمعروف وتنهى عن المنكر يجب أن تكون من أصحاب المبادهة. You see, أصحاب المبادهة. What's المبادهة? المبادهة, that means you can be equipped, you're intelligent enough to give answer على البديهة, to give answer, right away. So in order for you to do that, you have to be equipped, intelligent and knowledge, and you have read a lot, and then you have to know a lot. So al-amr bil-ma'ruf and nahy al-munkar is not. Sometimes if you make amr bil-ma'ruf and nahy al-munkar, sometimes you do the opposite. You come to somebody in the masjid and you tell him something, he will hate you and he will hate the masjid and he does not want to come back. You see? So you have to be intelligent. And I'm going to go with this hadith reported by Bukhari or Muslim. The Prophet ﷺ said, أحب الأعمال إلى الله أدومها وإن قل. The most lovable things to Allah, that the things that you do, but continuously. If you decide to give charity to the masjid, even $10 a month, keep doing it. You decided to make tahiyyat al-masjid, keep doing it. You make dhikr after the salah, keep doing it. Whatever practice you made yourself do it and keep it. Because this will be loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The hadith متفق عليه. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم فيا فوز المستغفرين فاستغفروه يغفر لكم إنه الغفور الرحيم. وأصلي وأسلم على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. There are so many research in the internet about the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves. And I copied the understanding or the idea. I copied the idea of this lecture from my Sheikh, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him afiyah, Sheikh Abu Ishaq al-Huwaini. I love him so much, and he is the one. I was hearing one of the muhadara, one of the lecture. He said, if I have time, he's talking about himself. He said, if I have time, I will collect the ahadith of the Prophet ﷺ that he talks about the most lovable things to Allah. So I took that from him and I went and I made, that. I collected all the ahadith that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that the most lovable thing to Allah, and I put it. And I have gave you 3 items so far, or 4 items, and I have about like 20, 15, 25 items. Inshallah, we will share with it. If you like the topic,
we like it.
If you don't like it,
we
will do something else.
Yes,
but,
please.
but if you like the topic, we will do it. But this is the idea of Sheikh Abu Ishaq. Please make dua for him to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Give him health and give him power and give him this. He is one of the Imam of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah of nowadays. And he is one of the muhaddithin who stays alive in this time. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him long life and healthy life. Yes, brother.
I have a question that I keep thinking about it. If somebody, we are here in this era, which is different from the time of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. So there are many things that came new to the world, including knowledge, including experiences, including many things. If somebody, an ordinary person, is not alim or anything like that, if he saw something based on his knowledge about things, say in tafsir ayah or in something that came in between the lines in the Quran, things that was not mentioned in Sayyid Qutb or Ibn Kathir or anything like that, but in the same time does not contradict with the essence of Islam and the essence of Sunnah. What is the situation of this person?
Okay. First of all, you answered yourself. The Quran, all the scholars have agreed that the Quran can be interpreted by Al-Quran. Or Al-Quran can be interpreted by the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. And the Quran will be interpreted by the saying of the Sahaba, understanding of the Sahaba. And the Quran will be interpreted by the proper understanding of the language, with the condition that it does not violate what had been said about that particular ayah. Okay? So, we have, and that's why in the hadith that reported by Ahlul Sunnah and Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, when the Prophet ﷺ talked about the Quran, لا تنقضي عجائبه. The Quran, they were going to find something easy. You yourself, you read the same ayah 10, 15 times, you might find something in it you couldn't find it before. You see? And yesterday I was telling the brothers that I was searching. I heard a lot of lecture about the surah of Al-Asr, وَالْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. Open the book of Tafsir. You find that all the scholars, they said Al-Asr is ad-dahr, is the span, the time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ordinary time. And so many. To me, even though I am not knowledgeable, but I can see that what do I care about the 10,000 years of this life, before me or after me? I care only about my life, my period. So Al-Asr is my life. I can understand it this way. Because Allah in the rest of the surah said, إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ, He's talking to me, لَفِي خُسْرٍ. So He's making an oath by my life and your life, and that means that me or you are خسر إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَأَصْلَحُوا الْحَقَّ وَأَصْلَحُوا الصَّبْرَ. Does not violate anything.
But هناك متشددين للغاية.
See what?
هناك أناس متشددين للغاية بما يأتي في in the books of tafsir, in the books of they are so rigid about it.
Okay, I'm going to tell myself, please love those people, don't hate them, because those people they are overprotective. Like some parents, you find some parents, they are overprotective of their children.
Yes.
We love them for that. We don't hate them for that. But we pray for them also, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give them more knowledge and to make it easy, to make it easy on themselves. There is nothing wrong, akhi. But what is wrong is, like what you said, to violate what the scholars said. It is wrong to say that this is to make a firm understand that this is the meaning of the ayah. No. You can say, subhanallah, maybe we can understand from this ayah this way. Maybe we understand this way. Do not make it firm. Keep it flexible. Okay? Keep it easy to give and take. Okay? If this is the explanation of the ayah and that's it, and everybody else is wrong. This is what we don't want. Yes.
But this applies to both sides. Both sides. Like the teacher and the listener. It applies to both sides.
Yes.
Like the teacher, he is more knowledgeable, but sometimes they insist in things that could be explained as you made the mention about the Asr. They insist. If you have the possibility, it is like that, then you are deviating.
No. Anybody else?
Well, I have a two-part question. And,
Speak loud, I don't hear very well.
I have a two-part question.
Yes.
Okay, you were talking about Iman Billah. Just earlier that regarding to the Iman, how many, when you have somebody have an Iman, this one you have to do, and this is how to do it. And then there's another person who actually traditionally in culture, he prays 5 times a day, he does everything he thinks he is supposed to do, but his Iman itself have shortcomings because he made it a traditional, like he's got to get up early in the morning, got to pray, he's got to go to a Jama'ah and pray, and he does all the 5 prayers, and then he does not have the level of Iman in order to 100% convinced what he is doing is not a ritual. Actually, that's what's ordered from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then there's another group of people who do not come to Jummah, to prayers, for a lot of reasons, and yet they are totally convinced that this is the Iman that they have and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have ordered them to do, and they do their best. So how you distinguish between that group of people and that group of people?
Ya akhi, your question, we can put it down and we could narrow it down to this point. If I have disagreement with you, who is going to solve this disagreement? We need to go to judge. We need to go to somebody. We need to go to the person who is responsible of solving the problem. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us the answer to that question in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَلَا وَرَبِّكَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ حَتَّى يُحَكِّمُوكَ فِي مَا شَجَرَ بَيْنَهُمْ ثُمَّ لَا يَجِدُوا فِي أَنفُسِهِمْ حَرَجًا مِمَّا قَضَيْتَ وَيُسَلِّمُوا تَسْلِيمًا. If we have dispute in anything, we have to go to the Allah or the Prophet. We see what does the Shara, what does he say? What does the Shara order? I do not explain Iman according to myself. You do not explain it according to yourself. This is not mine, it's not yours. It belongs to Allah. Allah will define it. You see? If a person does not come to Jama'ah, or come to the masjid, and he claims himself to be the most pious person, we're going to tell him he's wrong. Because the Prophet said wrong, not me. So, akhi, the answer to that question is, whatever problem we have to look at the sunnah of the Prophet, we have to look at the order of the Prophet, because he is the one who makes me wrong, makes you right, or vice versa. You see? It is not my definition, it is not my mind, it is not your mind. We have to appoint, we have to agree with one judge. Like, whatever. we have to go to the specialist in other world. Okay? And that will be solved inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خير for coming. And I want to thank the ICK and the people who they are responsible for inviting me over to share with you this information. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all our deed and forgive us if we made a mistake. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد.
So your next will be on 29th?